should be recording now.
Love it. All right. Well, thanks everybody for attending live or rewatching our Atlas webinar for August. It's been our goal to be more engaged with our owners directly. In fact, we're also going to try to rename you. We call you owners, but I think we're going to start calling you investors. And that's a more accurate word, I think. So, but changing vernacular takes time. So we'll work at it over time, and I'm going to try to use the word investors more than owners going forward. So we're excited to continue these webinars and engage with the investors who we serve. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the Atlas Advantage. And I want to give a little bit of color commentary. And Brian Bellew is going to, kind of tag team this with me today. Brian is our Vice President of Operations. He oversees all things operational at Atlas and is kind of the mastermind behind the scaling that we've done over the last couple of years. So, but where this came from was as we kind of reevaluated 2023. 2023 was a challenging year in real estate broadly. And it was a challenging year for owners of real estate, investors in real estate, people who want to transact on real estate. And it had a lot to do with just the broad inflation that we experienced across our economy, but also just kind of a sense of uncertainty that seems to linger. And we kind of stepped back and said, okay, what is our product at Atlas? Like, are we clear enough on what our product is? And are we communicating that clearly enough to the investors that we serve? And we landed on this idea of the Atlas Advantage. So if you go to the next slide, Chris, and I'm going to walk us through kind of what the Atlas Advantage is and what it means to you as an investor in real estate and a client of Atlas. So number one thing for us is the resident experience. And we think about that for a couple of reasons. First of all, the person paying the bills is the resident, right? Like, that's the reason to own investment real estate, is that you have a resident who pays for that asset for you over time. That's the whole idea. And we don't earn a property management fee when a property is vacant. So you as an investor don't pay us any management fees unless we're collecting rent. So really, the customer, if you will, in this whole thing is the resident. And our emphasis in 2023 and 2024 and going forward, kind of always been our emphasis, but we're really driving this point home now, is we want residents to renew. Costs of turns has gone up. Cost of work orders and maintenance has increased. I think we shared in our last webinar somewhere around 84% over the last 4 or 5 years. And that's just the impact of inflation on our business, on labor and materials in particular. So in light of that, the more often a resident renews, the less cost we're going to have for turns, the less frictional cost of move in and move out. And a happy resident is the type of resident who renews. So number one for us in the Atlas Advantage is resident experience. It's our number one priority. Happy residents translate into everything good as an investor and as the manager of the real estate. So on each of these, I'm going to pause and just ask Brian to add on anything that he thinks I missed.
You're doing a great job, Tony. I will add on, one of the things we've talked about since the inception of Atlas is, what's the number one cost of owning real estate?
Yeah,
it's vacancy, right? And we distilled this down starting there. That was our starting point and how we landed on the resident experience. So number one cost of owning real estate is vacancy. So how do you protect against vacancy? You get renewals done. How do you get renewals done? You do all the little things with the resident. You respond quickly to work orders, you communicate well, all those things that add up to the resident experience. So it was a thought process of distilling down from, how do we protect against vacancy? We get renewals done. How do we get renewals done? We prioritize the resident experience. And that's really how we landed on this. And it's something we've been has been top of mind since the very inception of Atlas is we protect against vacancy at all cost, and this is the best way to do that.
Exactly. So number 2 is PM health. And this is us looking at the health of the team members who manage property every day. So that's portfolio manager, that's assistant portfolio managers, and we've talked about changing this a little bit, kind of internally and externally, and because really what we're driving for is PM retention. And the property management business is a business that across the industry has about a 50+% turnover rate annually, just as an industry norm. In fact, I was on a flight a couple of weeks ago with one of the founders of a very large property management firm that's based in Colorado. They have somewhere around 120,000 doors. Very different than us. It's mostly student housing and some large multifamily. And his comment to me was, "Hey, we have 2,000 employees, and we hire 1,000 every year." And man, that's just stark, right? So Atlas does better than that. Our turnover numbers are not that high, but it is an industry where, frankly, there's just a lot of turnover. So we think that we do a few things. One, we want to pay at the top of the pay range for property managers, and we want to create an environment where they have flexibility and accountability and not be micromanaged. And at the same time, we want to create a consistent experience for you as an owner. So there's quite a balancing act there, right? And some of our owners have experienced multiple portfolio or property managers over time, and they see a difference between one from the other. Our goal is to make it so that our processes and our systems line up so well that it doesn't matter necessarily who that PM is that's assigned to your assets. You have a very consistent experience with Atlas, but that PM can have some real balance and be healthy and be able to be in that role and have it be sustainable over time. So that's an ongoing challenge for us. I'm not going to tell you it's easy. It's hard. And it is something that we're very, very focused on. Brian?
Yeah, we do a ton of stuff on this, as Tony mentioned. Really, I think culture is also number one. We do so much leadership development, volunteer events, coffee in the main office here, and lunches with the team, and all those things to try to keep PMs engaged and focused and here, because we know that turnover is painful on the investor side. Every time a PM leaves Atlas, it's institutional knowledge that's walking out the door, right? It's your knowing your goals is walking out the door. So we do everything that we can to protect against that and provide that consistency that we know that our owners and investors want. And so that's why this is number 2. We almost made this number 1. There was a debate whether this should almost be number 1, because we know the impact that it has to owners and investors when a PM leaves Atlas. And we're doing everything we can to protect against that and be better than in the industry and have healthy, engaged team members, because we know the benefit that provides for our owners and our investors.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Number 3 is owners helping owners. And this is something we've talked about from the day that Atlas was founded. We own real estate. Everyone on our team is encouraged to own real estate. If you join our company and you don't own the home you live in, we put you on a plan to own that home in the first year. If you don't have investment real estate, we talk about it constantly with our team. And it's actually a KPI that we measure, a key performance indicator that we measure internally. And in our last survey, we found that the average doors owned by an Atlas team member is 2.4 doors of real estate. So that's very, very meaningful. It means that there are more people in our organization who understand the good and the bad and the ugly of owning investment real estate. So we know what it's like to pay for a turn out of our own checkbook. We know what it's like to have vacancy. We understand how it works. So we want that to be driven in at every point along the way, that we are owners helping owners, and we're making decisions about assets as if we were the owner of the asset. Brian, what do you want to add?
Yeah, I think to me, this really just boils down to, we want to be an advisor for you. We have about 900 owners, and a lot of those owners own 1 or 2 doors, and are not experienced professional investors, we want to be the ones that you can come to and ask a question, what should I do here? And we can respond with the answer as an owner ourselves. I think everyone on the executive team owns investment real estate. We are seasoned professionals that want to be an advisor for you. And it may mean that, hey, we want to keep the rent the same because we know this resident is paying on time. They're taking care of the property. And that's massively valuable to an owner rather than pushing for $100 rent increase. The fact that they're paying on time and taking care of your asset is more important than pushing that rent and potentially losing that resident. So little things like that, advising you get an inspection report back and you're saying, hey, what should I prioritize here? We can help you go through that and list what your priorities should be for your CapEx projects and plan that out for you over the next couple of years. So really it boils down to us being advisors and knowing that we are owners of real estate ourselves. And we're here to help hold your hand and guide you along the way. If you're a newer investor, that's something we can help you out with.
That's great. Number 4 is compliance. And man, did we have a fun debate on this one because, we don't love compliance. Like who raises their hand and goes, ooh, compliance. That sounds so exciting to talk about. The reality is we are increasingly a compliance organization and we have to be. So the degree to which legislation is impacting our business in multiple states. So as I think all of you know, we were founded in Colorado. Our roots are in Colorado. Our leadership team lives in Colorado, but we now operate in 10 states and we manage real estate in 8 of those 10 states. So keeping up on law changes, not just at the state level, at the municipality level, is just incredibly important to us. So we exist to, in a lot of ways, be a liability shield for you as an investor. And it's, I think, the number one reason, I don't say number one, I think it is one of the top reasons to have your real estate professionally managed, is trying to keep up on all of the changes as they happen. And not just when a law changes, but then as that gets litigated or as that starts to work its way through court cases and other things where we get more clarity. In fact, just yesterday, I was reading an update from Dave Wells on our team about serving demands and how that works now in Colorado. So it is a big, big deal. It's something that we don't want it to, you can see on screen, we don't want it to dominate our decision making, but it has to inform just about everything we do so that we make sure we mitigate as much risk as we can when it comes to compliance. Brian?
And one thing we've been talking about a lot lately is it used to be that, you hired a property management company because you didn't want to do it yourself, right? It was kind of a luxury. And it's in the last couple of years, it's evolved to you kind of have to hire a property management company because you simply can't navigate this yourself or you're going to get sued. So it's become more of a requirement than a luxury in the past few years, especially in Colorado. And really there's undertones of compliance through all aspects of property management, right? Whether it's leasing and screening applicants or habitability laws on maintenance and having the right addendums to your lease. There's just so much compliance that goes throughout property management that it really is reassuring as an owner to know that we're on top of this. We have a dedicated compliance manager that this is her only job is to ensure that we're compliant. And like Tony said, Dave Wells on our team has a really close pulse on this too. So it's top of mind for us. And in some ways, we've become a compliance company. The fact that we do this in so many states and there's so much compliance that regulates this industry. And we're on top of it from the federal level to the state level to the municipal level. We have a very close pulse on this, and you can be reassured that Atlas is operating in a way that is compliant and protects you from liability. So as fun as compliance is, we're on top of it. We know that it's a priority, and we're looking at it daily for you.
Number 5 is communication. And we realize that we need to do more to communicate directly with the investors that we serve. But we want to do that in a way that is simple, it's clear, it's direct. You know where to find information. You know what's happening with your property. You know what's happening broadly in the market where your property is. So we are continuing to refine what that cadence looks like, and these webinars are a part of that. is more direct communication, more listening to you as the investor, and more engagement with you throughout the year.
I'm going to highlight Chris Ferry on this too. He's our owner concierge. I think that's where we landed on, Chris, owner concierge. So you'll probably be hearing from Chris on this. And so we're putting real resources behind, like Tony said, listening to our customers. That's something we've been talking about a lot lately internally, and really putting resources behind it to make sure that we're intentional about it. And we have a reliable cadence to be communicating with our customers, whether that's owner newsletters or webinars, social media, and even just from your regional director and portfolio manager. It's really top of mind for us that when to grow a business and to be efficient, you need to really listen closely to your customers, and we're being very intentional about that. If you have any communication issues or not getting those communications, your regional directors are always there for you. They're kind of that cornerstone and the person that you can always reach out to if you have any issues. And that's Rebecca Slaughter and Anna Frenzel, in addition to Chris Ferry, who's our owner concierge. So top of mind for us at all times. We want to be excellent communicators, and we continue to work on that for you.
And then the last one here is one we just talk a lot about internally, and it's really the Eisenhower matrix, right? This idea of urgent versus important. And in everything we do, we want to balance the urgent and the important. And too often the unimportant is urgent and the important is not urgent, and it gets ignored. And whether you're in our business or whatever business you're in, I'm sure you feel the same thing. So it's something we keep coming back to, the question of what's most important right now, and really drilling that in culturally in our organization to make sure that we're executing on most important versus just what's urgent. It doesn't mean we can ignore the urgent things. We know that too, but we don't ever want to lose sight of what's most important. Right, Brian?
Yeah, 100%. This is property management 101. If you're a seasoned property manager, you know that you're going to have those noisy residents and that will dominate your time. So this is training for our team members to always be running their rent roll, not letting their rent roll run them, is one thing we say internally, and to be in charge of their portfolio. One thing we say a lot too is if you get nothing else done for the day, make sure we get back to our owners. That's the number one priority always during the day. And that ties back to number 5, communication. But we know that you're a number one priority for us in making sure that that our property managers get back to you on a daily basis. And this is just a constant training for our team on prioritization and knowing what's the most urgent and important thing to work on, and always keeping that top of mind. So.
All right, so that's the Atlas Advantage. It's these 6 things, and we'd love your feedback on it. So I think we just pause here. We probably have 10 more slides. We're not going to get to any of them. We're just going to actually use slide number 1. And we'll pause here, and we'll just open it up for any questions. And I'm going to go ahead and let's see if I can activate people's microphones. I'm going to do this real quick. I think I can. And you are welcome to, you would have to unmute yourself, but you're welcome to jump in if you'd like and ask anything about this or any other topic. And we may have no takers.
Hey guys, I have a quick question regarding the communication channel and the process. My name is Sam, and I'm currently with have active property management with Atlas, and I had a question to see if I'm having a hard time getting the response back, or if it is delaying the process of having the tenant placed in the property. Is there a way to escalate or kind of like get the attention and have that expedited if possible?
You want me to take that one, Tony?
Yep, that'd be great.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Sam. Appreciate it. I would say Rebecca Slaughter and Anna Frenzel are the 2 regional directors. What market do you specifically own real estate in?
I'm in Fort Worth, Dallas, Fort
In
Worth.
Dallas. Okay.
Yeah.
That's Rebecca Slaughter, overseeing that market. So feel free to reach out to Rebecca Slaughter. Becky, I don't know if you can reach out to Sam directly after this, so he has your contact information, and know that Becky is your. If you ever have any of those delays or frustrations, Sam, Rebecca Slaughter. How long have you been with Atlas, Becky? 11 years.
Almost 11 years. Hi,
Almost
Sam.
11
We've
years.
actually spoken before. I'm happy
Yes.
to get in touch after the call.
Sure, sounds good.
But yeah,
Yeah, and
so
appreciate doing this presentation and getting some visibility in that last business. Thank you.
yeah, of course, Sam. Thanks for the question, and yeah, we'll make sure Rebecca pings you after this and resolves that for you.
You know, I think a takeaway from that for me is just to make sure. At one point, we had in everybody's signature line, if for some reason you're unable to reach me in a timely manner, please feel free to reach out to my RD, Anna, or Becky. So we're gonna, I don't think that maybe that's still in email signatures, and we should look at getting that put back in.
It is in there. I just checked right now.
Oh, good. Good.
So yeah, if you have an email right below your portfolio manager, it will say assigned regional director, and that is either going to be Rebecca or Anna. Those are the two regional directors for our third-party business.
Awesome. Very good. Any other questions? Thanks, Sam. Really appreciate you speaking up. I kind of want word to spread that if you're an investor on one of our calls and you ask the first question, I usually send you a gift card. So. All right. Well, hearing none, we will conclude the Atlas Investor webinar. Chris, let's change all of our messaging. We don't have owners anymore. We just have investors. And the last thing I want to leave you with as we conclude here is the opportunity to have your portfolio reviewed and evaluated by an investment specialist. So that's one thing that we really take pride in, is our ability to assess assets, their value, and help you kind of strategize and plan your investment strategy. So now that we are able to purchase and manage real estate in 10 different states, that's multiple markets in some of those states, there are times where we're able to look at a portfolio for someone and say, wow, this has been a great asset. It's served you really well, but because of how much it's appreciated and the rents that it can earn today, it's a 3 cap. And we can trade out of that using a number of different mechanisms and get you into a better yielding asset over time. So that's something that we do a lot of. In fact, internally we do that. Everyone on our team is constantly thinking that way about their own assets too. And we love to take that knowledge and share it with you and maybe create some more opportunity for growth within your investment holdings. So if you're interested in that at all, feel free to just reach out to Christopher Ferry, and he will get you connected to the right people that'll make that happen. In fact, I saw notes on a portfolio evaluation that Chris and team did this week that was super helpful. So not only is it maybe trading in and out of assets, but it might even just be taking a little deeper dive on optimization of the assets you have today. So we'd love to engage you in that way too. All right, team, I think that brings us we got about a minute left. I'll give you a minute back in your day. So thanks everybody for attending the Atlas Investor webinar, and we look forward to seeing you again here in the near future. Cheers.